You are not going to believe this, but this is my third time recording this video. I just can't seem to get it quite right. But hopefully this is the last and final time. I'm doing this for y'all. So if you're watching this video, please like and subscribe on your way in. Good evening. My name is Niko, aka Niko Nice, aka Niko for the people. Thank you so much for tuning into this video and watching it. It means so much to me. Today is January 5th, 2025, which means, drumroll, it is my 5th year anniversary of being 100% alcohol free. Can you believe that? 5 whole years, yeah. 5 whole years, alcohol free. Haven't had so much as a sip in 5 years. So let me tell you why I have not consumed alcohol in 5 whole years. So the reason why I first got on this alcohol free journey is different from the reason why I'm still on this alcohol free journey. So I'm going to explain both sides of it. First and foremost, I used to say that I was 5 years sober of alcohol, which is technically true. But I don't say that anymore because I think that word should be reserved for those who struggled with alcoholism or maybe some addiction somewhere. I feel like that word has a little more respect and honor to it. Like they really overcame something very difficult. So I'll leave that to them. I won't use that term. I'll just say alcohol free. There are 4 reasons why I began the journey of being alcohol free, and really kind of like, I guess, 2 reasons why I'm still on that journey. So first, let me tell you the 4 reasons why, because they're kind of interesting, kind of funny, but all true. This is why. First and foremost, on January 5th, 2020, 5 years ago, I was gonna go out. It was like a Thursday night, Friday night, or Saturday night. You can look it up on a calendar. And I was gonna go out and like go to a club, dance, whatever, just have a good time. Really by myself. And at that time, I used to go out a lot by myself. I would just go, just have fun for a couple hours, then come back home. So before I went out, I'm like, oh, let me drink a couple drinks. I had some drinks in the fridge. Open the fridge, grab the drinks, poured them into a cup, whatever, drank them. It must have been, I don't even know if I even made it out that night. I really don't. My stomach, my stomach did a number. I don't know what happened. I don't know what I drank that had this reaction. I felt like the stuff that I drank was stuff that I had previously drank before, but for whatever reason on this day, it tore my stomach up and I was pissed. So here's what happened. So I drank the drink. My stomach is in shambles. I'm stuck on a toilet. I'm moaning and groaning, all sorts of stuff. And right, because if you got a headache, you can take aspirin, right? If you got a cold or flu, you can have, there's cough drops, there's cold flu medicine, there's NyQuil, there's ibuprofen, acetaminophen, all sort of stuff, right? But for this, there seemed to be no solution. Like I was just stuck in this pain regardless. And that pissed me. For whatever reason, that made me so angry. I was just angry at this pain, and it lasted so long, probably like, in retrospect, like a half an hour to 45 minutes or something, maybe an hour. But it was just so painful, and there was nothing I can do about it, and that made me angry. So I went into my fridge in my house, kid you not, and I grabbed the remainder of the alcohol that I had in that fridge. And I had like, I know, this is funny. I know some of them were glass bottles because I'm going to tell you what I did in a second. But probably Smirnoff I used to like because it's like sweet but also alcoholic. Wine coolers, different things. It was like 4 or 5 bottles. I grabbed the remainder of bottles that I had in that house, and I went outside to my backyard. Now, my backyard, the house that I used to live in, mind you, it was a back porch, and then off the porch was a small yard, and then at the end of the yard was a brick building, an abandoned brick building. And so I went outside into my backyard. That abandoned brick building there was no fence. That was the fence to the edge of my backyard. Boy, I took them bottles, through. This is so dumb. A sane person would have just opened them up, poured it out, got rid of the bottle, whatever, or just throw the whole bottle in the trash. But me, I was so angry. Boy, I threw the things against the, I was breaking glass, all type of stuff. It was crazy. But I was just so angry. So I'm like, man, F this. I'm never drinking alcohol again. Bro, I broke all 5 of them bottles, right? 5, 6, whatever it was. Went back in the house, man, I'm mad. Finally, my stomach settled down. I'm like, man, I ain't never consuming alcohol again. And that was, kid you not, the start of my alcohol-free journey. Literally that moment. And the reason why I was going to go out and like go to a club and have a good time that night is because I was celebrating getting hired at a new job, which brings me to my second reason why I decided to put down alcohol was because for this job, you had to be in some type of shape to get hired. You had to be in good shape. You had to be able to run. So I'm like, man, I already eat a lot of food, bro, and it's tough to control my diet. So that on top of alcohol consumption, man, I ain't gonna make it. So I'm like, look, something got to give. So I decided to put alcohol down because I'm like, man, y'all ain't about to get me up out of here. Let me secure this bag first. Then I'm going to, celebrate 3 to 6 months, whatever. So that was the second reason why I decided to put down alcohol, because I wanted to be in much better shape, and alcohol was going to make that very difficult. The third reason, right, and this one is the kicker. The third reason was because of a message that was preached by my pastor. So I'm a Christian. I'm a born-again believer, right? And I attend this church here in Buffalo. It's called the Buffalo Dream Center. I've gone there for over 2 decades. Yes, over 2 decades. I don't think quite 3 decades, but over 2 decades, a long time, right? And so, for context, the pastor of this church, he has always stated, if my memory serves me correctly, he's always believed that the mere consumption of alcohol is sinful, right? I never believed that, right? And so he and I never really had a discussion about this, but anytime he said it, I was like, I don't know about that. I don't know, so, and still to this day, that's what I believe. But this random Sunday morning, he was preaching a sermon, but it wasn't about alcohol. It was about what we call Christian, or what you can call Christian liberties. Okay, let me explain Christian liberties. And shout out to Liberty University, my alma mater. But so Christian liberty, so if you're a Christian, right, our goal overall is to love God, love people, period. That's the mission. However, there are other things that we submit to, right? One of which is the teachings of the Bible. However, within the teachings of the Bible, some things are not so specific as to whether they are wrong or not, whether it's actually sinful or not. And I'll give you a couple of quick, easy examples. For example, one, attending a nightclub. Just by virtue of stepping into the building, are you in sin? Now, there's plenty of ways you can sin once you're in there. There's no doubt about that. But just actually going there, is that a sin? 2, consuming marijuana. Is it not, right? So some people believe that some people believe that those things are not sin. And because they're not sin, according to them, they believe that they are free to partake. It's a liberty that they have that does not jeopardize them being a Christian. Christian liberties, right? So that was what the sermon was about. And so his main example was alcohol. And he's like, okay, let's look at alcohol consumption. Let's say it's not sinful. Let's say it's totally fine for you to engage and indulge. Here's my question. Why would you? Now that got me thinking, all right? I was like, why would you? Let me dig deeper. And this is the example that he gave. And I don't remember how he worded it. I'm going to totally butcher it. But I do know that this was the gist of it. He said, okay, let's look at 2 different substances, both of which alter your mind state. 1, alcohol. It alters the way you act and think and behave. 2, caffeine. It alters the way in which you act and think and behave. Well, act and behave are the same, but it alters your thinking. Have you ever read an article, 45-year-old man consumes 15 cups of coffee, runs his car off the road, kills a family of 5? You ever read an article like that? 35-year-old man consumes 5 cups of coffee and a Red Bull, kills his whole family and himself. You ever read a headline like that? Okay, I haven't either. Now let's apply that to alcohol. Do we even need to begin? Do I even need to give you examples? Alcohol's track record with aiding and abetting people to make horrible decisions is unmatched. The track record is atrocious, vile, horrible, terrible track record. I mean, sometimes you look at some of the drugs that are currently illegal in various parts of the country, and then you look at alcohol, and it's like, how is alcohol not illegal? And I understand prohibition and blah, 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 whatever. I'm just saying, if you want to make something illegal that's going to cause people to do some damage to themselves and others, and you just say alcohol, should be all right. How? You see what I'm saying? Terrible track record. Yet here I am as a Christian. Sip. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm getting at? Right? And that was his approach in the sermon, this pastor of mine. Boy, that was a good one. That was a good one right there, boy, because it made me, I'm like, that's undeniable. He's not saying in this moment that it is sinful, but look at the track record. Is that something you want to attach yourself to? Great point. And for me, the answer was no. It's not at all. I'm good. I didn't even, man, sexual assault. Both the victims and the perpetrators. Victims and perpetrators. High correlation with alcohol consumption. And that's what I want to consume? The answer is no. Boy, I'm good off that, man. That was the third reason. I said, you know what? I'm done. Now, I had already stopped drinking alcohol it had been like 2-3 months. So this sermon that I heard in church was probably March, April of 2020, somewhere around there, if I'm not mistaken. So I had already been off of alcohol for a while, but this was just another layer. I'm like, man, I'm done. Now, the fourth and final reason, randomly enough, was because I was watching an interview, as I did a lot at that time, of President Donald Trump. Because at a certain point in time, I really, really disliked him. And then I had transitioned from not disliking him so much to thinking, this dude kind of straight. This dude kind of all right. So what took me on that journey was consuming his videos. Not necessarily videos that he put out. Videos of him talking, various interviews and things of that nature. One of which was, I want to say, Piers Morgan from years ago. This was like probably 15, 20 years ago that he actually did this interview. Long story short, Piers Morgan was asking about his alcohol consumption and how, rumor has it, there is no alcohol consumption. He don't even touch this stuff at all. And he was like, yeah, no, that's true. And I don't touch it, don't drink it, and never have. And he's like, really? Never? He's like, no, never tried it, never took a sip, never did it. And part of the reason is because he thinks that he has a genetic affinity for it. So if he tries it, he ain't gonna be able to stop. So he said he knew it up front. He had an uncle that laid into him, like, don't you ever try it. And he never tried it. To this day, never tried it. When I heard him say that, I really liked it. I really liked that. Not so much the fact that he didn't consume it himself, which I do appreciate that about him, but that's not what stood out to me. What stood out to me was the opportunity for me to say the same thing in my 60s, in my 70s, in my 80s. I put it down in January 2020. I was 29 years old. So when I'm 59 years old in January of 2049, I can say, yo, I didn't touch this stuff for 30 years straight. No ifs, ands, or buts about. Not a sip, not an ounce, not a drag, not a nothing of nothing. 30 years straight. See, I like that. And I want that. Which brings me to the two reasons why I'm still on this alcohol-free journey. It's not really spiritual. It's not really esoteric. These are just my reasons. Number one, first and foremost, and I think the strongest influence on me is the Christian liberties component. The fact that even though if it's not sin, I could, the question I have for myself is, why would I? That's the number one. That's the number one question is why would I? Okay. Number two, for me personally, is the streak. That's it. Today, January 5th, 2020 makes it 5 years. I like that a lot. It feels good. And I want it to be another 5 years, another 10 years, whatever. So those are my two reasons. And that's it. I mean, it ain't that much. So listen, here's the deal. Thank you for watching this video. But look, if you are on a journey with alcohol and maybe trying to put it down, trying to get away from it, trying to become unaddicted to it, whatever the case may be, send me a message, write me a comment. I would love to encourage you. I'd love to pray with you, pray for you, whatever. Anything I can do to help, because I think that is a noble cause. That's a good thing, in my opinion, to put down. It's a good way. It's a good approach to life, in my personal opinion. So write me a comment, send me an email. I would love to help. Or you can hit me on Instagram at Niko Nice or at Niko for the People, either or. And I would be happy to respond to you. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. And lastly, before I go, I almost forgot. January 5th is the day that I put down alcohol. But I love that date so much because it is also my beautiful my beautiful beloved mother's birthday. Happy birthday, Mom. I love you so much. The last 12 months have been tumultuous for my mother specifically. So keep her in her prayers. Miss Davis, you can pray for her if you know how to pray. But no, happy birthday, Mom. Happy 35th birthday, Mom. And I love you so much. Hey, thank you for tuning into this video. I really appreciate y'all. Like the video, subscribe on your way out, and Happy New Year. Thank you.